Now you see it full screen, right?
Yes.
Yeah, full
Good.
screen.
Okay. So I'm glad I solved that one. So what are we going to cover today? Uh, I've got a question for you all. What's the common thing about all these things we could cover today? What's the common denominator?
The very personal question.
Opinion.
Pardon?
They're
Very
an
personal
opinion,
question.
not necessarily the correct answer.
They all say
Okay.
best. They
And
all,
They
that could
all
be
say,
that could be very subjective as well.
They all end with a question mark.
yep. So these could be the sort of questions you want to ask an AI, and they are the worst sort of questions because they're so generic. Uh, so the, the the message from this is an underlying message for the use of AI all the time. If you ask a generic question, you get a very generic, useless answer.
Mhm.
Because what is the best smartphone? Depends what you want to use it for. What's the best cruise line? Depends whether you've got kids with you or you want to go to the Antarctic or what. What's the best wine? Okay, you've got to give a little context to your question. So what we're really going to cover today, these are the topics. We're going to mention privacy and accuracy to start with, because that's another basic. Then we'll look at creating minutes of a meeting or notes, reviewing and writing emails, designing useful graphics, and so on all the way down. At the end, I'll summarize a few of the tools. When it comes to choosing tools, it kind of reminds me, my daughter lives up in Seattle in a park called Ballard, and Ballard is very well known locally for a number of breweries. I've been to one or two with daughter and her husband, and what we've done quite often, they say, well, I've said, which is the best beer? Aha, bad question. And they say, well, they have a sample menu. So let's get a set of 5 or 6 for you to taste and see what you like. Basically, that's what we're going to do today with AIs. There's half a dozen or so that I'm going to talk about or mention. Some are good for some things, some are better for other things. So I can't get into depth on all of them. We don't have enough time, and I probably don't know enough about them all. But what we're going to do is we're going to do a sampling. Okay, so let's move on. Be very careful what you put into AIs, because you're going into the cloud. So be careful with private personal data. Branch finances, member disputes and things. If you're dealing with, say, a branch meeting, or we have a state board meeting, and we're talking about a couple of people who really need to get kicked in the rear end because they're not doing things properly, those sort of things should not go into a public AI tool. Some of the tools use your conversations to improve their models. That changes from time to time, so please read the privacy settings. In general, I don't think anybody is going to be terribly interested in the minutes of a board meeting or minutes of a BEC meeting. But if you get personal, just be careful. You can always anonymize it a little bit, saying a member complaint instead of John complains about XYZ. I'm going to talk probably a little bit more about something called Notebook LM. A, it's my favorite. B, it only runs on the SIR documents or whichever documents you put into it. And it can be very private. It does not share data into the cloud. So that one is slightly different. I regard it as being much safer. Okay, now general warning. Top left there. AI can be confidently wrong. It hallucinates. For some reason, they've been trained to be very friendly, and they don't like telling you, hey, we can't do this. So if they have a blank, they make something up. There's some ways to reduce that. One of which is a very simple way, and I do it, I try and remember to do it at least every time. And that is, I put in the requirement at the end of my prompt or the question I'm asking, and I say, if you've got any questions, please ask them before starting. I use one called Claude, you're going to hear about, and it does that almost automatically. It says there's several ways to look at this. Do you want this, or do you want it another way? But I always ask the question because that keeps the AI on track. And if it says, I don't know anything about it, okay, you can do something else. Always check key facts. If you've got an original source, what I tend to do is read through very quickly if it's the board minutes or something like that. And it'll occasionally get it a little bit wrong. It depends on the accuracy of the source, but I'll talk about that later. I use AI a lot for a first draft. If I'm staring at the screen and thinking, how the hell do I do something here? You know, what can I do? I get a first draft and then I review it. And then I maybe go to another AI and say, you know, I ask the same question and have a look and see what they say, and then combine the thoughts. And I then review it, of course, before sending it out. I'll tell you a story about this PowerPoint at the end when we get close to finishing. Different strengths. AIs are not all the same. Some are good for some things, others are better for others. If your answer sounds a bit odd, ask the AI why. In the earlier days, when they were quote hallucinating, I would say, why do you say that? Certainly if it wasn't answering my question properly, I'd say, why don't you answer the question? And it says, oh, I'm sorry, I ignored what you asked. I'll do it again. So that is a lot less common these days. But if you've ever got a suspicion that there's something weird going on, just ask it, why did you answer that way? And your judgment is the final check. You know, if it's something you're doing for Sir, you know Sir, your branch, your members. AI hasn't got a clue. So one way to think about an AI is it's a very intelligent intern working in a company, but it hasn't got a clue about anything the company does. So it needs to be trained. So let's get into some of the meat, I should say. How do we create minutes or notes from meetings? I find this very, very useful. First of all, you make a recording of the meeting. To me, this is the absolute best way. When we record the audio from Zoom like this, it creates several files. It creates a couple of video files. One is with all the people in the who are here looking at it, and one focuses on the speaker. They're different files. the most important one for my purpose, or your purpose if you're doing minutes, is the audio recording. It pulls out just the audio, and that's very useful. It comes out as an M4A file. That's its .m4a, and that .m4a, whoops, sorry, the M4a file can be loaded directly into Notebook LM. Notebook LM is part of the Google family. So if you type notebooklm.google.com, you can get into it straight away. And I'll put some notes out separately with how to get into all of the AIs I'm talking about. So you upload that audio file. By the way, video files and audio files tend to be pretty large. If this meeting runs an hour, I would expect the audio file to be anywhere from 50 to 70 megabytes. I would expect the video file to be anywhere from probably 600 megabytes up to 900. So these are files you can't just attach to a message and send out. So when it's in Notebook LM, I say summarize it as formal meeting minutes with action items. And about a minute later, you've got the full set of minutes pretty much ready to go, except what? The only thing to do is to check it. People's names are misspelled. It gets some things mixed up. And you might say, why isn't it perfect? Well, let's suppose we've got a meeting going on and 2 or 3 people talk over each other, or your gardener goes by with a with a blower. When you're talking, you get a lot of noise. And when you get a lot of noise, of course, it's very hard to understand. And of course, the AI has a problem. So you review, you correct the errors and format it as you want to, and then you've got it. That typically takes, I've done them as quickly as 10 minutes. Some have taken 30 minutes. But compared to actually taking the minutes of a 2-hour board meeting and then creating a decent report, this is easy. It's really, really easy. We're going to do a separate presentation to branch secretaries and go into a little more detail. That'll be sometime in July. Okay, suggested tools. I only suggest one, and that's Notebook LM, because you can use an M4A or an MP3 file. One of the things I'm going to tell branch secretaries is you don't need Zoom. All you need is a smartphone. Set it to record voice. I would check beforehand to make sure you've got a choice of M4A or MP3 formats. The only reason I say that is a lot of the phones save as a WAV file, and that's about 9 times bigger. So I did a short meeting recently, and I got a 700 megabyte WAV file. It's just huge and a pain in the butt to deal with. ChatGPT is good. Sorry, it says goods. Good with transcription text. I don't see the point of recording something, creating a transcription text, and then trying to summarize it. So I go direct to Notebook, bingo. Any questions?
Yes. How do you record, I guess, a conversation on a smartphone, like at a branch meeting?
I just go and look in. I use a rather old Samsung, and it's got at least one voice recorder there. If you can't find a voice recorder, I go to the shopping bot place and just pull down a free app and use that.
Okay. Thank you.
With Apple, they've got one built in and it works very nicely. It gives you a choice of M4A or MP3.
Okay. Thank you.
Derek, this is Paul, Branch 4. If you upload the audio, how do you go from there to the transcription text?
I don't ever translate or transfer to text. All I do is take the audio file, put it in there, and then ask it specific questions, like create a formal. One of the things you can do is say to it, you are a professional board level secretary, create a set of minutes from these meeting notes, and it just does it. Or you can say, we had a discussion today about should we have travel as one of the activities? And I want to, who discussed it and what was the decision? And it'll just focus on that one topic. So I never create a transcript that I read. Does that answer the question okay?
Sort of. I'll keep listening here.
Okay. For more detail, come to the state branch secretary meeting that John said he'd arrange sometime in July. Okay. So let me do this. Okay. Now this is where I thought AI would be really, really useful at the branch level, well, and at state as well. Creating emails and publicity. Excuse me. You can start off saying something like over here, write a friendly reminder email, and it'll give you a draft. Remember, I always take the first output from AI as a simple draft, and sometimes the second and the third. And then I change things. The nice thing about an AI is it's patient. If you say to it, nah, that's not quite right, I want it a little bit different, and you do that 3 or 4 times, it doesn't get annoyed with you. You know, a secretary in the old days might have said, come on, for God's sake, Derek, make your mind up. The AI is very patient, and you can ask it to do it as many times as you like, and it'll keep on giving you answers. An interesting point about AIs, if you ask them the same question 2 or even 3 times in succession, you'll get different responses. I discovered this is called, I'll forget that, we're getting into the weeds there, but it's not strictly driven by an algorithm. It gets kind of, there's a randomness to the answers. So you ask 2 or 3 times, you get several different answers. One of the nice things about that is you can say, oh, I like that one better. Now let's work on that one. What I tend to do is when I think I've got a message that I like, I go to Claude, I'll talk about that in a minute, and say, review it for tone, clarity, and spelling. I hope I've caught all the spelling errors because I have a spell checker that is also an AI, of course. And I ask Claude, can you improve this or review it like this? And it'll make some suggestions which we are perfectly free to ignore or include. So that's how I try and improve any text messages. The nice thing about it is you can sit down late at night and say, oh, the newsletter's coming out tomorrow. I need a paragraph on something. And it'll just write it.
Derek, if you do this, do you actually send the email to Claude, or you just pull it off your screen? How does Claude get to the email?
Oh, you copy and paste. It's that simple. What I'll do it towards the end, since you asked that's a good question, remind me. There's lots of different ways to get information into these AIs. You can copy and paste. I put a PowerPoint into Claude yesterday. Actually, this PowerPoint you're watching now, and said to it, this was an experiment. Give me a brief set of speakers' notes from this PowerPoint. And it gave a darn good summary of how I could approach this actual PowerPoint presentation. It picked up on one thing very quickly. On that slide where I said the best camera or the best wine or the best whatever, it picked up that what I was looking for there was the fact that using the word best depends on what you're looking for. And it actually said, this relates to AIs because some AIs are better than others. And that I had not even suggested to it. So I was quite impressed. But you can also learn. I've used AIs for learning. We all use YouTube, right? When we want to find out something. When Notebook LM came along and there were some YouTubes going, what I did, I went onto YouTube and said, I want to see all your YouTube presentations on Notebook LM. And it gave me, dozens. So I selected 7 or 8. I collected the URL. You just go up to the top, copy the URL, and I pasted that into, I used Notebook. I posted all of the 8 or 9 things into, excuse me, into my notebook and said, what are the common ways to use Notebook LM? And about a minute later, I had a list of all the good things and how to do them from those 8 or 9 different YouTube videos. And the videos took quite a lot of time. There was probably 10 hours of video there. And I summarized it and was able to read the essential stuff in just like a minute or two. So there's lots of different ways you can put information in. In fact, what I'll try and remember to do at the end is open up one of the AIs and show you what it looks like, because initially it's a bit scary. It's almost a blank screen. But as soon as you know where to look, end of story, it works. Okay, so let's move on. We've done that one. This is the fun one. One of them, they're all fun. Excuse me while I. Okay. So what can AI do with images? And I think I said earlier, things are changing rapidly in the world of AI. I was reading late last night after I'd done a review of a final review of the PowerPoint, came across an article that said it was a guy comparing ChatGPT to Gemini as a creator of AI images. and he put it through its paces, and he said, "Wow, in the last few months, ChatGPT used to be pretty poor. Now it's pretty damn good, and it is now beating the previous winner, which had been Gemini's, one called Nano Banana down there at the bottom, and it was a lot better." One of the big problems has been with creating images. It's okay to just create pictures, but when you start putting text into the image, oh boy, does it get tricky. It very rarely works very well. But apparently, and I haven't had time to try it, ChatGPT's new image creation is really good. So you can create brand new images. I did one with a sunny day with seniors enjoying a hike. You can take existing photographs, remove backgrounds, change the lighting, add and remove objects, and so on. We can do consistent style for flyers, posts, newsletters, event programs, all the lot. And we can take those images and you can tell the AI what size you want. If you want a full screen like this, it's, 16:9 is the ratio. But some social media want square, others want vertical, some want horizontal. You can create the size you want. Where are we?
Derek, what's that DL-E you have after ChatGPT?
Oh, okay, one sec. It used to be called DAL-E. That was the name of their image creator. I'm not quite sure what they call it now, but it'll have a different name. When they change it and make it better, they tend to change all sorts of things.
You have a warning there at the bottom. What sort of things are you looking for carefully?
Yeah, that's almost historic now. It used to be that you could tell an AI generated image because people would have 6 fingers or 4 fingers or 3 legs and things like that. That doesn't happen anymore. I haven't seen it for a while, but here, a good example, I found a very old photograph. I was the eldest of 5 kids. Back in about 1953, we were staying with my grandmother in northwest England. And I was a photo guy at that stage. I had a little old, I think it was a Brownie box camera. And I took a picture of the eldest sibling walking with the next eldest, and the twins were running around like crazy on the street. It was a black and white, of course. And so what I did, I put it on my scanner, created a copy, put it into, I think I put it into the Nano Banana and said, okay, clean this up because it was a bit faded and a bit scratched. And then I said, colorize it. And when I told it to colorize it and started working with it, I suddenly had 2 extra kids there. So instead of there being the 4 kids, there were suddenly 6 kids. So I said, okay, what's going on? And I went back and had to redo it a couple of times because it had added things to the image. So it's always good to check your image that it hasn't added something or taken something away that you wanted. Does that sound sensible?
Derek, it's Leo. Quick question. When it's searching for images, is it, I'm guessing it knows images that are copyrighted that you can't use. Is that right?
Nope. If you create yourself a an AI image, as far as I know, you've got the copyright. You can do what you like with it.
But I'm saying, does it show you that it's a copyrighted image? Like if we do it now on the internet, it shows you. But if you do it through AI, does it show you that it's copyright?
Nope,
Oh, that's a
but it's
problem.
yours to use. It's your own creation.
Really? Huh.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've had this discussion, I'm sure you all remember it, about having a photo release form.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
Derek, what would happen if you said, I want a poster and show me a picture of Taylor Swift recommends our branch? Would it do it?
It tends not to work when you use people's names. Says, sorry, can't do that.
Good protection.
Yeah. But you can there's always a workaround. You could say somebody looking like Taylor. I don't know. I've read that every time you erect a fence, somebody will find a way around it, right? But for general purposes, what you create is yours. So let me jump. What I've done, I think if it's coming up.
Clarify, Derek, there's no conflict with our new photo imaging policy that requires approval.
Nope, because, well, hang on to that thought for a second. This was just a little thing I drew up as an icon. If you're talking your various activities and you wanted to have a different way of saying what you've got, you can specify what to put in each of those. Here's the one where I said, let's have a picture of 4 sirs going for a walk on a sunny day. These are not real people. These are just imaginative pictures created by the AI. So nobody can complain that their image is going to be misused. There's no problem. So you asked just now, does that answer that question for you?
Yes. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. So when I start creating images, I'm not really an artist, but what you do is you create these images from text. So you can say, in fact, this one I said, 4 guys out hiking on a shady under the trees with the sunshine in the background. And this is what it came up as. This was one of my early experiments. What I'm saying now is include at least one person in their 60s, one in their 70s, and one in their 80s. Because if it's all old people, what are we trying to do at the moment? We're trying to attract younger members, right? So if all the images are of old guys, we're not exactly going to turn on the 60-year-olds. So, okay, that's
So you
one
just
example.
change it to the age that you want, 50, 60, and the image
Yep.
will come up.
Yeah,
I just did that. It looks pretty awesome.
Yep. Here's another one. A picture of folks enjoying a glass of wine. Same sort of instruction. This was in an evening. You can tell from the color of the light. It's an evening, sunny evening, and they're having fun. I usually add the instruction, the people are enjoying themselves, because it's nice to have people smiling. This is one, this is where I cheated. Somebody sent me a copy of one of their newsletters. I'm still on a few mailing lists. as a past president, you know, I used to get a lot of them. Now they've dribbled off. But these four guys were out hiking. I forget exactly where. So what I did, I said to the AI, get rid of the background, because they were wandering around somewhere in California. It was flat. It wasn't terribly interesting. So when I got the four of them, I said, okay, now put them in front of Mount Everest. And that's what we've got there. Now, for that, of course, you've got four people. If I was going to publicize this picture, I would go to the guys and say, hey, do you mind being pictured in front of Everest? And I presume they would say, that's okay, because we've already been in the newsletter. But, you know, that's just one of the things we can do. Okay. Out of curiosity,
Question.
pick one of these four, because I'm going to transfer them and do something with that image. Okay. So if you look at one of them and look at how they're standing, whether they've got colored epaulets or so on. What I did, I separated them out, 1, 2, 3, 4 people. They're stood on little plaques that says hike with Sir. There's the picture here, a box with this guy's picture on it, a box with this guy's picture, something in the background. This was just a fun thing. The only way to learn is to play, is my opinion. This was a Gemini picture. You can tell from their little trademark down there. So that was fun. Another group, another newsletter, I copied the people sat at a table where they were enjoying some food. And I said, okay, extract the guys and the table, get rid of the background. And then I said, okay, now put that table in front of the Eiffel Tower. Just for fun. This was many months ago I did this. Now I'm sure it still does it. It might just do it a little better. Okay, picture of me. Is this an AI image? Anybody? Did I pluck myself up and do something? Actually, no, it's a trick question. This was, we were on a cruise down on the Mexican Riviera. This was Puerto Vallarta. Oops, sorry. My mouse is very sensitive. What I didn't notice was this guy in the background. But playing with it, I say get rid of the background. It gets rid of the buildings there, and I also got rid of this fellow, and I just had the 3 statue things and me, and then I was able to put it anywhere I wanted to. How about this for an image? I thought this would make a nice travel image. When I did I told you I had the AI give me a set of notes, speaker's notes. It looked at this image and said, yep, this is probably an AI image showing that Sir arranges cruises and they'll take you to all sorts of places. Well, you know where it is, I'm sure, Sydney Harbor. It's actually a photograph I took when I was there. We were on a cruise. This wasn't our cruise ship. This was one that was in port. And I just took the opportunity to catch a bit of the ship and the opera house in the distance. And you can play with it. I mean, it's very easy to do. Okay, does that give you a few ideas about images? I certainly hope so. Okay, so let's move on to this one. Better understanding legal documents. And the first thing I'm going to say is look at the red stuff, the red words at the bottom. for any legal guy who's present. AI explains documents. It does not provide legal advice. Okay? Got to say that very carefully. But how can AI help? Well, you can say, explain this clause or this whatever part in plain English. You copy it, you paste it in, and it'll give you a good explanation. What are my obligations under this contract? What questions should I ask a lawyer about this? So you go into a meeting better prepared. You get a 10-page document, summarize it. These are, you can see the key details very quickly. So I've used this occasionally. For example, looking at our state manual. I hate the way it's written, and sometimes it doesn't make sense, so I get it to explain it. But I've updated on that because there's now something called Ask Sir. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. And it explains everything in plain English. I've done it for you. Any questions on legal documents? This can be used at home, of course, when you get an insurance policy or a contract from somebody, or a government form that's one of these really long ones. You can use it to explain it in good, simple English language. So any questions on that?
I've got a question. I use Perplexity, but primarily as an inquiry tool. How do I
Yes.
pass the document on to Perplexity, or is that available?
Oh yeah, you can copy and paste. But what I do with Perplexity, it's a great program for doing research. And I use it to create the research that, for something I want to study. Nice thing about Perplexity, it gives you the citations. So if you want to check what was actually said in the citation in the article, Perplexity is the way to go. And I collect articles from Perplexity, put them into Notebook LM, and then say, okay, I've got the most recent one I did on that was we want to attract baby boomers, don't we? As the 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds, make our average age a little younger in the branch. So I went out and said, a question something like, what was it? What does it take to attract baby boomers to join a club like SIR? I got a ton of stuff back. So I collected the most useful articles, put it into Notebook LM, summarized it, and got some really good answers that we can use as SIR.
Is this Perplexity Pro or just a free one?
Free one.
Okay, really?
Yep.
This
One
is a
of the things
basic,
that came, sorry?
basic question. If you're going to look at a legal document, do you have to scan it ahead of time, or will you get a command that says scan now?
Two separate items there, really. If you get it in an email, that's easy because you've already got it. You can copy and paste. If it's, oh, sorry again. I hope that's better. If it's a written document, I've got a scanner. I just pop it on the scanner table, create it as a PDF, and that goes straight in. I just copy. I just provide it as a PDF and so upload it to the AI. Okay. A useful one here, survey results. my background, when I came over from England, I came over as a scientist. My new products were going gangbusters, so they made me the marketing guy, the marketing director. And one of the things I used to do was surveys, and I hated open-ended questions. Because if you got a lot of responses, had all these responses, and it was a job to sort of sort them out and get sense from it. Nowadays, if we do a survey for SIR, I always recommend you use a survey where you can get a CSV or a file from Excel or Google Docs. I get the results as a CSV. Well, actually, I've done it with an Excel as well. I copy it into one of the AIs and say, summarize these responses. What are the main topics? What did people like the most? What did people dislike the most? And so on. And very, very quickly, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you've got a report that you can send out to leadership and say, this was the result. I find this incredibly useful and time saving. I don't know if any of you have that problem when you do surveys, but every time I've done a survey, it's a pain in the butt to summarize it. So here's a little promo. We've got something called Ask SIR. And down at the bottom here, it's at sirinc.org/AskSIR. If you haven't used it, it's available. Anybody can use it. It's built on Google Notebook. And into it, I've put the SIR Inc. manual, the current version and the current leader's guide. And I'm planning to add key administrative documents to it. When you go in there and look at it, the Google Notebook LM, on the left-hand side, you'll see an area called sources, and they're the things I've uploaded into it, like the manual or the guide or whatever. Each one has a check beside it when you open it. At the top of that line, it says use all. You can click on that and the check marks go either all come on or all go off, or you can just go down and click the ones you want or don't want. If you're asking a question of the manual, I always recommend you only have the manual line checked. You can ask all sorts of questions, like what are the rules for forming a new branch, or what does the manual say about travel reimbursement? You can ask hundreds or thousands of different questions. You only have to write the question in straightforward English. The thing I hated about the manual when we have it as a PDF online and you go to the search function, if you don't ask the keyword properly, it won't find it. And when you do ask a keyword properly, it'll probably say there's something like 23 hits of that particular word. Then you have to space through. And sometimes what you want is scattered over 2 or 3 rules. Using this AI assistant, it brings them all together. It goes out and finds wherever that question you asked is referenced. So it's really, really useful if you need it. I thought at first it might not be very useful because the number of us who actually go and look at the manual very often is remarkably few, I think. But when you have a question, you don't have to call your AR or somebody who you think might know the answer. You can go into the manual and it's there for you very quickly. So let's see. Any questions on that I call that a real simple example. No, good. Okay, summary at a glance. I've been all through this. Chat, GPT, Claude, Gemini, Perplexity, Notebook LM. Canva, by the way, is a way of creating flyers and newsletters that can be very useful. I haven't used it much. I don't know how much AI you get for free on it, but if you pay whatever they charge for access, you get to use the AI and it helps you lay stuff out and do stuff. And Nano Banana used to be my favorite. I was going to talk about that more, but now I would say if you want images, ChatGPT may be better, especially if you want text. Here might be a way of a sort of workflow, if you like. If I'm looking, oops. As I said, my mouse is very sensitive. If you want to learn some facts about something, the example I gave just now, what is it that would attract baby boomers? I would start off with Perplexity. Get some facts. You can say things like, I'm only interested in academic publications, peer-reviewed in the last 10 years. Otherwise, you might get some history that's a little bit out of date. And I certainly don't want it going out to any of these social, what do they call, social media, where all sorts of wild stuff is written. If I'm doing something really sensible, hell, I want sensible answers. I then tend to put that into Notebook, and I call that the mirror, because it looks at what it only looks at what you've put in. Occasionally, it'll go outside if it can't answer, and it'll try and bring back something to help there. Chat, GPT, I used that a lot initially. I've used it a bit less more recently because using Notebook LM and Claude and Perplexity, it didn't seem quite as useful. But I'm going back to it more these days. Claude is a diplomat. Before you send out a message, I have Claude evaluate it. I check it for tone and inclusivity. Am I being rude? Gemini, it's got a whole bunch of things. I've been tending to use even the Google Sheets, which is their spreadsheets, Google Docs, because if you're using Gemini and you want to save stuff, you can save it directly into a sheet or a spreadsheet or a document or an image. It'll also do the what do they call their slides? You can even create a slideshow directly from there. So this is a sort of flow chart that I tend to think these days. Your way of doing it may be different, and it doesn't matter. It's whatever works for you. I think I said earlier, the way I've learned stuff is I try and find a problem, and then I try and find a way to use this stuff to help me solve it. So, 2 golden rules to remember.
Derek, a quick question before you go further. I have a PC. Are these actually apps or are these accessed via a browser?
Most of them you go online. What I'm going to do is post a sheet. Perplexity is perplexity.ai. Notebook LM is notebooklm.gemini.com. or if you have Gmail, over on the right-hand side of email at the top somewhere, there's a little icon. It's a 3x3 dot matrix. When you click on that, you get a drop down and it shows you all the things that you can use in from Google. If you scoot down it, you get that star image I showed you earlier. That's Gemini. And if you keep on going towards the bottom, you actually get Notebook LM there as well. ChatGPT, I've got a click. I just click on it and it comes up. If you're puzzled on how to get in, just type in ChatGPT and it'll tell you how to do it. Claude is claude.ai. Gemini, I've just told you how to do it. Okay, accuracy. Please remember, AI will always sound confident, whether it's right or wrong. So review the output. And one of the things, I always do is ask any questions before you get going. I tell it to do that. Claude is very good because it tends to ask questions anyway. But what I found is if I say ask any questions before starting, it'll say the questions will come in like, do you want me to include this and that? How do you want the output? Things that you might have well written in your prompt. A prompt, by the way, is the AI way of saying, ask me a question. Things you might have put in there if you'd thought about it, but you might have forgotten. So asking any questions solves that problem. This is the last slide of this PowerPoint. I urge you to give it a try and start simple, pick a tool, pick one task and have a look at it and see how easy it was. Now, what I want to do is switch over. I'm going to stop this sharing for a moment. And then I'm going to do another share because it's a very simple one. Let me do this one. Okay, so what's this? What's that doing there? I don't know what those little squares are. I must have had it live. Oh, okay, it's live and I don't know why it's there. So if I deleted it, no, it's getting bigger and bigger. Sorry. This is a live picture from, I think I did this in Google Sheets. I took my Branch 8 roster, and the roster includes the ages of our members. And so I went to Gemini because I couldn't be bothered to fool around creating a bar chart manually. I said, I want a bar chart showing the age groups in 10-year increments of all our membership. And in about 10, 20 seconds, I'd got this nice little bar chart. The thing that worries me about this bar chart is we've got more members in Branch 8 age 90 to 100 than we do 60 to 70. Ooh, what does that say to us? And we've got a lot of 80 to 90-year-olds. What's going to happen to Branch 8 unless we get more new young members? It's the old, we're going to age out problem, right? Not good. So, very simple. When I saw this, I sent it to our big sir and said, hey, Dan, thought you might like to know this just in case nobody's ever mentioned it. So, okay. And now I want to give you another little share because Here we are. This is one I created for a possible use. Okay, I said I wanted a young guy and two older guys enjoying wine. Would that work as an ad for a wine tasting group?
Which is a young guy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if you have to, it's the guy in the middle is supposed to be younger than the other two. Now, this actually was, I did this about a year ago, and it was a royal pain to make one little thing here work. Because I think I mentioned earlier, the earlier versions of image creation had a terrible problem with words. Well, in this case, the bit about wine finders, which is the branch 8 group that we have, it did that okay, but the words down underneath it were just a jumble. And I tried several times to get the words to come out right. I couldn't do it, and it destroyed the image. One thing, when I made this first time, all the guys were wearing blue shirts. So I said, okay, I want different color shirts. And then I came in, I went out and did a screen capture from just a text program, enjoy with Sir. I cut out that from the screen and I made it fit into here. So it said, enjoy with Sir. That was the only way I could get around it. Now I think with what I've been reading about ChatGPT, I think it would handle it better. So,
Could I make one?
Very
Can I
patriotic.
make one comment about your bar chart?
okay, one sec. Let me go back to bar chart. Okay, bar chart.
If
Okay, so what
someone
was the
was
question?
70, he'd be in two groups. You should go 60 to 70 and then pick up 71 to 80.
Ah, you know what? This is the one, when you ask, I said, ask the AI to ask any questions before it starts work. It said to me, for somebody age 70, do you want them in the 60 to 70 group or the 70 to 80 group? And it actually spotted, that could be a problem. So it's 60 to 69.99 and 70 to 80, sorry, 70 to 79.99 or whatever.
Good
So
connection.
yeah, it actually did that for me. It made me think, oh, I should have asked, I should have set that up as a detail. Okay.
Was this ChatGPT created this?
And this was Gemini.
Gemini. Thank you.
So Derek,
Yeah.
when will the presentation be available for everyone to take to review this again online?
It should be available. I'm going to send Alan Baker a copy this afternoon, and as soon as he can get it up, so it'll be within a day or so.
Yeah, I want to thank you, Derek. Really good information and very informative. I will say, as Derek was saying, in July and in August, we're going to try to have some more workshops, maybe targeting very specific ways to use AI. And we did talk about creating notes using Notebook LM and these kinds of things, creating the branch secretary reports and other ways, maybe for the publicity person to create some advertising targeting certain groups. So we will set up some workshops so we can, get into the details. I think that would also help, Derek.
Yeah. If anybody, one of the things I would like to see is a group of people finding that AI is useful and they do things. And we've got a small group at the moment. There's, I think, 2 or 3 under the CIO. I would invite anybody who finds AI interesting to get involved. I'm way over the average age, We say the average age in SIR these days is around 80. I'm way over that. And it reminds me of the thought, with this chronological age and real age. I don't feel 85. I'm curious, I'm interested, I want to learn, and it keeps my brain active. So I really recommend playing with AI to learn about it. For example, I'm going to do a quick talk for our Branch 8 lunch in July. It's going to be nothing like the one today, because today was all SIR based. So what I'm going to do there is take the same programs and show how we can use them in Branch 8 for doing various things at home. And it won't be technical. So, if you, by the way, I've never had an IT course in my life. My background is chemistry and marketing, but I really enjoy learning about this stuff and trying, and I found it very useful. Dave, you've got a question. You're muted, Dave.
There we go.
Yeah.
I was going to say it might be useful to set up a users group for AI and, have some periodic meetings and just see if folks want to drop in, ask questions, or suggest new ways to use it.
Yes, that'd be a great idea.
Derek, I have a quick question. And using ChatGPT, the free form, is it better to set up an account? And does that then provide you with, if you've asked questions before, that you can research those and say, oh, what did it say about, I wanted to take a trip to blah, 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 and recommends to go here, here, and there. Is that the way to access old questions to ChatGPT?
Yeah, that's a darn good question. When these things were new and young, there was no memory. So when you asked a question, they call it a thread. Okay, when you had a thread and you finished it, it forgot all about it. Now they all, I think almost all of them offer memory. So if you've talked about setting up a trip, I did one of those questions actually, and probably will show it for Branch 8, a trip to Iceland. We did that trip a couple of years ago. So just recently I said, if I was going to Iceland for 8 days, what would I go and look at? And it gave me a very nice itinerary. It showed me a lot of the things we'd seen. It gave me some pictures. It recommended hotels. I asked it for suggestions for decent restaurants. Bing, 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 gave all the answers. And if I go back, that should still be in memory.
Right. And then another thing I would suggest, I think the users group is an absolutely great idea. And as we try to get this out there, I can imagine, I think we can say this is going to help you so much. Please volunteer for more things, because AI can really help you with meeting minutes, arranging kinds of different things, and maybe get more members to volunteer for the things that we need help with.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I would take it even further. If some of the jobs in a branch seem awfully tough, and so let's say, or at state for that matter, somebody doing promotion or marketing by yourself, it might sound like a hell of a job. Okay, get somebody who really enjoys AI, or 2 or 3 people who enjoy AI, to help you if you're not an AI guy, and create pictures, create text, create flyers, and so on, because it really removes the need to be an artist. I can hardly draw a straight line, but I've been able to create some very interesting art. I'll show 1 or 2 funny pictures when we come to the Branch 8 one, by the way.
Derek, it's Paul. You mentioned you're going to give this talk to your branch. hate to ask you this question right now. Are you open to talk to other branches about this? It sounds very interesting.
Yeah, if my wife doesn't complain too much. My wife thinks I'm kind of married to either my computer or Sir. But yeah, I'd be very happy to come out and do the sort of branch version rather than the Sir version,
Thank you.
especially if you feed me.
I will feed you.
Okay, Derek, I think we're sort of right at the time there. Thank you again for all the information. Thank you for everyone who's attended today's workshop. As I said, we will have some future workshops, and the user group makes a lot of sense, and we'll see how we can implement that as well going forward. And again, I think Derek said that the presentation will be available to everyone in a day or two. So if you again want to get it and share it, and as he said, try out some of these different chat GPTs, Gemini, and so forth on your own, just to get familiar with it, and then that'll also be a way to use it as part of the user group, have discussions. So I think with that, Derek, I think we will call it, if you're good with that.
Yep.
All
I'm
right.
just here to answer any questions or chat.
Well, I'll leave it open then. I need to leave right now, but if anyone else has any questions for Derek, that'll be fine too. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you,
Eric,
John, for setting it up and inviting me.
Gary, Dan Weller here.
Yes, Dan.
I have a lot of problems going from like Windows 10 to 11, and I was trying to get people to help me, or things that help me. Is there a good AIs that you think of that would help with problems versus doing something else?
Okay. I would do my learning trick. I would go onto YouTube and ask the question, transferring from Windows 10 to Windows 11. You probably get quite a lot. I would look very quickly at them, scan them very briefly, collect the URLs of anything that sounded interesting, put that URL or set of URLs into Notebook LM, and then you can ask any questions you like. Because you've got that entire bundle of knowledge now in Notebook LM.
Yeah, I've been
and
using
it can access
what was in my Edge thing I used to get into internet, and it's always the same answers. So I got to get spread out to get or places that find things. So
yeah, well, the benefit of Notebook LM is you can ask multiple questions.
Yeah.
What was the most common problem? Or how do I solve this problem? Or whatever it is.
Okay.
Natural language. You can just put the question in real English.
I got a lot of those problems. So.
Okay. I'll talk to you later on that one, Dan.
Yeah. Okay.
Derek, could I offer? I have been a Windows instructor for quite some time. For that question that just came up, if that speaker would like to contact me, I'd be happy to help him directly, verbally, with transitioning from Windows 10 to Windows 11. Just look up Sir Branch 160 on the internet, get the email and send it to me, and I'll be happy to help you out.
Okay, so that's Ron Russell at 160, right?
Right.
Correct.
We'll find you one way or the other. If you're in the roster, great, that'd be trivial. If not, we'll get to you via the, well, tell you what, can you go to the chat box down at the bottom there, Ron, and put your email in there, and I'll relay it to Dan if he can't see it.
Yeah, and if I fumble it, it's really simple. Sir Lake Tahoe at gmail.com.
Oh, Sir Lake Tahoe, TAHOE, at what? Gmail?
Correct.
Okay, so laketahoe@gmail.com. Got it. Thank you. There you go, Dan.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody else? Tom Watkins is our Vice President, Little Sir at Branch 8. And he's the guy who is going to get into trouble for inviting me to talk at the lunch.
I don't think so. I do have a question about that. Since I won't be able to enjoy that. I'll be under the knife, Kaiser. But
What a choice. You're not saying you
yeah.
prefer to go for surgery than listen to me.
Yeah. So you have slides or something with that presentation? I like to. Is it recorded? You going to record it or something or?
Oh, I'll create separate slides for the talk. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank
Good
you.
morning, Andy. I see Andy's got his hand up.
Yeah, I'm thinking
this is
if
Tim
John's
Hayes in Branch
still
4.
on,
And
one of the things that I'm using heavily right now is
oh,
YouTube.
somebody's talking. Well, it's
And-
Andy.
Sorry, yeah, Andy is
YouTube-
talking.
And so maybe we need some sort of a workshop like this about how to use YouTube effectively to improve your use of XYZ. Because as you pointed out, you can go to YouTube and say, give me a course on AI, and you will get a lot of really good information off of YouTube. And,
Yeah.
and now using AI on YouTube, which is embedded because it's also a Google product, is that you can have it search, as you say, videos on YouTube on how to do anything. It's a very effective tool that we ought to find a way for all of us broadly to use.
Absolutely right, Andy. Yes. Tim?
Yeah, Derek, my new computer came with Windows 11, and it's an HP, and the AI is called Copilot,
Yeah.
and I use it every day. So how do I translate everything I learned today to Copilot, or vice versa?
I've not really used Copilot at all, mainly because when I did use it a year or so ago, it was so crappy. I decided ChatGPT was better, and then I found things even better than ChatGPT. So I haven't come back to Copilot. I don't know if Ron, you use Copilot much with your when you're doing training for Windows. You're muted.
I've never been to any training for Windows. I mean, I just.
Hang on.
Yeah, I have not done that. I've been very limited with AI. I've been using Gemini some. It's pretty amazing, and that's as far as I've gone so far.
Yeah. Well, so what I'd say, Tim, is try one of the other ones that I've been talking about, see how it works for you. If Copilot works, stick with it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, if there's no more questions, it's almost 10 o'clock. Time for another cup of coffee or something, I think. I just hope the recording was done. There were 2 or 3 people asked if they could record on their Otter or something else. So we'll see what comes out of it. Okay, everybody?
Derek, one of the things we did with Jim is that I uploaded his workshop into the search channel, and then we added it to the link. So you could get PowerPoint or PDF or a link to the actual video training.
Yeah.
Do you plan to do anything like that with other workshops like this one?
This one will be posted on the website as a PowerPoint. I've got some extra notes I've done. If anybody wants to use the PowerPoint for themselves, I've even got the speaker notes that the AI created for me. And I've got a bit more information about some of the, how to get into the AIs themselves. At least I think I've got all that. I'm going to send it to Alan and ask him to post it.
Yep. So the answer is no, this video is not going to be available as a link.
As long as it recorded properly with all these other people getting recordings, yes.
Yeah. Understand the problem. We redid his presentation with just two of us to minimize that.
Yeah. Well, if this got screwed up, then I'll come back to you and get your help.
No, Derek.
Okay, if no more chat, thank you very much for coming and listening. It took a little time to put it together, but I think it's worthwhile.
It's nicely
Thank
done.
you, Derek. Thank you, Derek. It was worthwhile. Absolutely.
Good. So let me see. Yeah, okay. So I'm good to go. It does look like it's recording, so I'm going to stop the recording. And